Often called one of the most courageous persons the civil rights movement ever produced, Congressman John Lewis has dedicated his life to protecting human rights, securing civil liberties, and building what he calls the beloved community in America. He was born the son of sharecroppers on February 21, 1940, outside of Troy, Alabama. As a young boy, he was inspired by the activism surrounding the Montgomery bus boycott and the words of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., which he heard on radio broadcasts. In those pivotal moments, he made a decision to become a part of the civil rights movement. As a student at Fisk University, John Lewis organized sit-in demonstrations at segregated lunch counters in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1961, he volunteered to participate in the Freedom Rides, which challenged segregation at interstate bus terminals across the South. Lewis risked his life on those rides many times by simply sitting in seats reserved for white patrons. He was also beaten severely by angry mobs and arrested by police for challenging the injustice of Jim Crow segregation in the South. During the height of the movement, from 1963 to 1966, Lewis was named chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, which he helped form. SNCC was largely responsible for organizing student activism in the movement, including sit-ins and other activities. While still a young man, John Lewis became a nationally recognized leader. By 1963, he was dubbed one of the Big Six leaders of the civil rights movement. At the age of 23, he was an architect of and a keynote speaker at the historic March on Washington in August of 1963. In 1964, John Lewis coordinated SNCC efforts to organize voter registration drives and community action programs during the Mississippi Freedom Summer. The following year, he helped spearhead one of the most seminal moments of the civil rights movement. Hosea Williams, another notable civil rights leader, and John Lewis led over 600 peaceful, orderly protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama on March 7, 1965. The marchers were attacked by Alabama state troopers in a brutal confrontation that became known as Bloody Sunday. Despite more than 40 arrests, physical attacks, and serious injuries, John Lewis remained a devoted advocate of the philosophy of nonviolence. In 1981, he was elected to the Atlanta City Council. He was elected to Congress in November of 1986 and has served as U.S. Representative of Georgia's 5th Congressional District ever since. John Lewis is the recipient of numerous awards from preeminent national and international institutions, including the highest civilian honor granted by President Barack Obama, the Medal of Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southern Center for Human Rights salutes its 2014 Frederick Douglass Human Rights Award honoree, Congressman John Lewis.